Huh? What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2012 movie, The Avengers. So, in this movie, Nick Fury unites a team of heroes, including Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye, so they can save the world from Thor's brother Loki, who is planning on taking over the world with the help of the Chitauri. And so it all comes down to a big battle in New York between the Avengers and the Chitauri and Loki, and trying to stop them from invading the world. This movie is easily one of the best movies in the MCU. It's been one of my favorites ever since it first came out in 2012, and it's really the one that kind of kick-started the MCU for a lot of fans and everything. Phase 1 was one of those phases where the movies were kind of introducing us to this world and the characters and building up to this and everything, and 5 movies built it up to this one, and it was a really, really great payoff. It's one of the best payoffs in the MCU. It's not the very best, of course, because they've outdone themselves many times since then, but this is a really great entry. I absolutely love the Avengers. I always have, and everything. It has some of my favorite moments with these characters too. They did a really great job bringing everybody together, and everyone's chemistry is really great in here, especially the main 6 members. They all work really great together. I don't even know who gives the best performance, although I will say that this is probably one of my favorite performances of Chris Evans as Captain America. I don't know why, but I just have always loved Captain America in this movie. Maybe it's because he's just so lost and everything. There's just something about his character arc in this that I really enjoy it for some reason. And there's also a lot of really fun fight scenes between the characters and stuff. There's a really cool one between Iron Man and Thor at the beginning of the movie that I've always really loved, and Captain America breaks it up and stuff. They're like in this forest and stuff. I've always loved that moment. And then the scene when Thor and Hulk fight is pretty cool too, although I prefer their fight in Thor Ragnarok more, but it's still a really cool fight, and seeing him Hulk trying to lift Mjolnir and can't pick him up and stuff was pretty cool. And this was our introduction to Mark Ruffalo as the Hulk, and I think that he was just absolutely perfect in the role. He completely nailed it, and he's been excellent in the role ever since. But this performance might be my favorite of his, because he's just really, really great in this movie. But all of the cast are great in here, especially Tom Hiddleston, though. He just steals the show as Loki in this movie, which he does every time he plays Loki. He always steals the show. Even in his own show, he steals the show as Loki. I absolutely love Tom Hiddleston in the role of Loki, and he's really great in here too. And so all of the cast are really great in here. It has some really great action too, although I will say that some of the CGI is really bad. It didn't look good back then. It doesn't look great now and everything, but I'm trying not to be as hard on CGI in Marvel movies, because of knowing that the stuff that's going on currently with Marvel and stuff, that them mistreating the workers and stuff when they're doing the special effects for the movies and stuff. I feel bad for them and everything, but I don't know how long it's been going on, if it was going on when this movie was made. I hope not, because this movie came out 10 years ago, but I still gotta say, though, I don't really care for the CGI in this movie. It just doesn't look super great. It hasn't aged super poorly and stuff, but it never looked really that great to me to begin with, so I just don't think it really looks real great. It hasn't aged as bad as some CGI in other older Marvel movies, like the other Hulk movies, but Hulk still looks pretty bad, and the Chitauri look pretty bad at times too. But there's also a lot of really great actual practical sets and stuff in this movie. It has a lot of good action set pieces, and I love that too. So they kind of balance out the CGI with the practical in this one. This is one of the few MCU movies that does that. A lot of the ones since then have just rely on CGI and stuff, which sucks because practical is always better. But I will say the practical that we do get in this is pretty good too. And Alan Silvestri does the score for this one. It's not as good as his score for the first Captain America movie, but it still fits this movie really well and everything. So I like that too. I still think it's a pretty good score, and it's always fun every time I watch this movie, getting to see our heroes unite for the first time. There's always just something really fun about it, knowing that it's the first one and first time all these characters are coming together and seeing how they first reacted to each other and stuff. It's always a lot of fun revisiting this movie. The more and more the MC goes on, this is always one of the ones I like revisiting, because it's crazy to see how far these characters have come since this movie and everything, since pretty much all of Phase 1. But I think this is just a pretty good movie. Like I said, it's really enjoyable. I love the cast and the story. There's a lot of really fun, like, humorous moments too, and the dialogue in this one is some of the best dialogue too. I love, like, just the little scenes where the characters are interacting throughout the movie and everything, when they're on the helicarrier or helicarrier, and they're kind of sitting around talking and kind of getting to know each other and stuff like that. I love just those little moments and stuff where they're just talking about different things with S.H.I.E.L.D. And there's a lot of things that set up other movies in this movie that I never really thought about until I rewatched this one. Stuff that I've noticed from other movies that I didn't notice before, which I thought was kind of cool too. Like the way this movie kind of builds up more stuff for the MCU while also being really great payoff for the previous movies. And I like that too. And there's this one thing though that they keep saying, and I don't know if they meant it because they knew Phase 2 was fixing to start, but they kept talking about Phase 2 throughout the movie, and I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it was just something I wanted to point out. I don't know if it was intentional, but if it was, I see what you did there, Marvel. And this also has one of my favorite Captain America moments too, when I understood that reference scene when Nick Fury mentions Selvig and Hawkeye getting turned into Loki's flying monkeys, and Thor didn't get it, and Captain America's like, I get it, I understood that reference. And I just love that scene. I don't know what it is, it's just one of my favorite Captain America moments. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because it's Captain America acknowledging my favorite movie of all time, The Wizard of Oz, or what, but I've always loved that scene too. But this is just a really, really good entry in the MCU. It's still one of my favorites. It's probably at least in my top 10, if not top 5 still. And it's just a really fun movie, and it holds up really, really well. It really is still very entertaining and everything. So I'd say I'd give The Avengers a 9.5 out of 10. I think it's a really entertaining movie, and like I said, it's definitely one of the best movies of Phase 1, if not the best movie, and it's one of the best MCU movies still to date. So anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of The Avengers, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And and I might not even be having this series if this movie didn't work, because if this movie would have flopped or not been very good, the MCU as we know it would have been dead. It's crazy that how far it's come since this movie, but when this one came out, it was really groundbreaking for the superhero genre and for movies in general and stuff, and it still has its effects on Hollywood to this day, 10 years later. But I absolutely love this movie and everything. I definitely would recommend it if you haven't seen it. If you're wanting to get into the MCU, this is definitely one of the ones that you have to see and everything. Although I would recommend watching all of Phase 1's previous movies before getting to this one. just so you kind of know the characters before going into it. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of the Avengers, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.